Once again, let me apologize for any for the background noise that will be occurring as we're going through this story. So this lets me know, at least from my point, where the beginning of the false narratives were being set. These are a few major stories. There's other ones that I cannot remember right offhand. To begin with, these are very serious accusations being spun by sick people trying to prove that I am a monster because I am leaving the dynamics that our family is imprisoned by. These are sick individuals that cannot stand the fact that I got sober and was having success in my life and chose this path, very dangerous path, to destroy my successes. These are very serious accusations. Accusations that start hysteria, especially when you think of the stories that I'm getting ready to tell you. And these are stories being told to me. I can only imagine what was told to influence my friends and other people to act the way they have against me. So just to be clear, my part of the dynamic is that I am the scapegoat and reason for their own lack of success. When I still find myself at this point playing that part in my own life. I don't do it too often, but I do catch myself doing it at times. But I have used it actively as an undercover American for the people. I have used it actively for the past 7 years to allow for people to basically acting passively and scapegoating also, but passively in a manner that allows these people to show me exactly how far they'll go. But mostly it's my attempt to find out where the information is coming from, how it's being distributed, and why it is that people are just falling for it the way that they are. When it comes to anyone messing with a child, that's the way they get the hysteria kicked up and they get anyone to listen to them. So they're going for the full Monty, if you want to call it that, by saying that I'm some sort of pedophile, saying that I molested my sister, and apparently they went further. But please listen to these stories. Please listen to these stories that are going to follow the rest of after this introduction. So my reason for using, I'm trying to expose a long-running conspiracy. So playing the scapegoat and playing passive has been very helpful. So when needed, I rely upon this it's character defect, I think, but it's also a family dynamic that can happen. As a good undercover agent, you use as much truth as possible to keep the criminals feeding you information. I think I made that clear. So when I was still in college in UCSC, so it was not junior college, but the last 4 years, my sister calls and tells me a very strange story about my cousin Sherry. She tells me this story, and it's a very crazy story. It's very intense, but apparently Chris Cadenhead, Sherry's husband, was having an affair. I'm going to keep this abbreviated. The way that they found out he was having this affair was because someone had murdered the woman he was having an affair with. What had happened was the woman that was murdered had 2 children. Apparently Chris's relationship with the woman was so close that he knew the children and had keys to the house. And the children could not get into the house after school, and so they contacted Chris, and he went to the house and he discovered the body. And this is kind of a crazy story. I cannot be certain if it's true. If it's true, I certainly apologize to this woman who was murdered. But I do not believe it's true at all. I do not believe it's true at all. I think that this was one of these stories. What my parents and my sister have been trying to do is motivate me or trigger me into some sort of past behavior, whether it's relapsing. If you listen to my last post, you'll understand how my mother completely uses any kind of drug activity that I do as some sort of a finger on my, actually a heel on my neck kind of a thing, which is ridiculous. It's just dumb, because everything she told me was, you listen to the last post and that'll make it more clear. I was in the middle of attending school, having success, and trying to stay sober. When I say trying, I mean I was working hard at it. I wasn't having any problem staying sober, but the way I saw it and the way that I was taught through AA and through my recovery family was that you got to stay vigilant with this. There is nothing that I can do from California to help my cousin. There was nothing I can do to help in any way. And it was such a very big story and very sensitive at the same time. I just let it go, focused on my mission, which was to get through school and go through that and not take that on. Interestingly enough, when I was at when I had my graduation, my cousin and my aunt Sherry, my cousin Sherry and my aunt Tony, and is it Dylon? Sherry's daughter, they came to California to attend my, sorry for the background noise, to attend my graduation. I didn't know it at the time. My father had started a strange argument with me at the graduation, telling me something about, you know, I took all the classes you took. You don't know anything more than I know. Very nice. I graduated with honors, by the way. I definitely know more than my dad. Not because he didn't go and take the classes. I'm sure he did. I know more than him because I'm not an arrogant narcissist with zero self-esteem that would need to tell their son something so absolutely ridiculous and mean at my graduation. And also know that Sophie Jo was there, and she was part of inspiring him to act against me. She's just an angry ex-girlfriend. She's angry that I wouldn't be with her, and she is a major player in all of this, especially her mother. Big money, something my mother loves. My mother loves that. So after the graduation, my mother was there, my sister was there from Hawaii. They went back to Hawaii. They went back to, my cousin and my aunt went back to California. My sister calls me up and she tells me this strange event that happened at the table while we were eating dinner at my graduation. She says that she let Sherry use her camera, not her camera phone, but an actual camera, and that something had happened with the camera and that she was upset and she wanted Sherry to do something about it. And I was like, you know, I'm in sobriety. I've grown, I've matured, I've got a really good education. And I was like, okay, so what's this call about? I mean, what's going on here? So it's a camera and something bad happened, and well, I want you to call Sherry. I want you to say something. I want you to do something. I'm like, what is it exactly that you want me to say or do? I was not trying to be mean to my sister. I was being not passive, but just a little bit assertive, but also trying to be sensitive towards her feelings. It is my sister. I love her. I love her dearly. Even after all of this, I love her dearly. Very dearly. She's a victim in all of this, if anything. To some degree. Although it's very obvious now that she has made her own decisions also. And I just told her, I put it off by just letting her know I'll think about it and just go off. Go from there. But I knew that I wasn't going to call Sherry about a phone about something ridiculous. And if I did, it wouldn't have been to start an argument with her. If anyone knows Sherry Cadenhead, Sherry Money, they know that she knows how to take care of herself. Right? We're sitting at a bar one night. There's a bar fight that breaks out at a place called Fish Heads in Destin, Florida. And some crazy chick, I don't know, everybody's drunk, and it was quite a bar fight actually. This chick chucks a beer, and I swerve out of the way to get out of the way. She wasn't aiming it at me, she was aiming at the person behind me. It was a full beer. And my cousin totally went off. Sherry is very capable of taking care of herself. Very capable. She has an explosive temper, and she's, a beautiful girl too, woman. At least she was. And very capable of taking care of herself. She knows how to use a gun, which I always thought was very strange in the background story about the woman that was that supposedly Chris was having a relationship with, and like thinking to myself, I wonder who might have killed this woman. Like I said, I don't mean to laugh because I'm pretty certain that it's a fake story, but understand if it's not, I certainly apologize, and rest in peace to that woman and all the trauma that it may have caused. But when you hear my next story, you'll understand that this is most likely a created story for some reason trying to trigger me. I don't know why I would be triggered by any of that. I guess they think I'm some sort of like I'm a gossiper or something, which I'm not. Maybe, I don't think I was before much either. I just like to talk, but not about gossiping. So let's get down to one of the most very important and very kind of, this was a story that I did get into. When my sister, this is after meeting Carmen. My sister knew Carmen because she was pregnant at the time. Me and Carmen was dating. She's a pediatrician. I introduced Carmen to my sister. Also understand that Carmen Sue met my mother, and that's a whole different story. This strange lunch we had, and a kind of, yeah, I'll leave that for another story. But Tatum had the baby. She had Mia when she was, I think, 6 weeks premature. The family went out. I couldn't go. I had things going on in California. My mother and my sister and my mother and my father and my father's girlfriend Liz went to Chicago for family support. If I'm not mistaken, my mother was already there. She was already there giving my sister, hands-on assistance with taking care of the newborn. When they returned, I went to Liz's house, and at Liz's house I was told this story, or I may have been told this story before, but I recanted the story at Liz's house. The story was that on the day that Mia was born, as soon as everything was stable, everybody went home. The next morning, everyone, Dexter, everybody. The next morning, Dexter, my mother, my father, and Liz is my father's girlfriend, was going back to the hospital. This was the story that I was told. Going back to the hospital, Dexter taps my dad on his shoulder and says, "Can you drop me off at Buffalo Wild Wings?" Supposedly, everybody was very surprised at what he said. And they asked him, like, what's going on? Why would you go to Buffalo Wild Wings? Do you think the NFL is more important than your daughter? And what they told me that his answer was yes. The NFL is more important than Mia. Please drop me off at Buffalo Wild Wings. Okay, so I was told that story before they came back. When they came back from Chicago to California, I went to visit all of them. Liz, Tatum, not Tatum. Was Tatum there? Liz, Tatum was there. That's impossible. I'm sorry, my memory's a little bit broken up on this. But when I raised the story with Liz and my mom and my dad, I said, "What are you guys doing? Why didn't somebody simply roll up a newspaper, hit him on the nose?" He's younger than my sister. Just hit him on the nose like a bad puppy that he was, and tell him, "Well, that sounds real nice. You're coming to the hospital with us." His daughter was only alive for his second day. Only alive for the second day. What's important is that Liz was part of this scenario. So she's been pulled into this storytelling, narrative building that is absolutely unbelievable. Just to be clear, I went to Chicago when I went to go visit. My mother was still there. And I approached Dexter because this was impossible. I told him right to his face. I said, I was told a story that I cannot believe. I'm standing with you here right now in your face, and I cannot believe this story. Do you understand, Dexter? I've been told something that I can't believe. Because Dexter he's a fairly solid, upright man. I would trust anything he told me. If anybody was ever tough in the relationship, it was my sister browbeating the hell out of him when they were first getting together. It was something that I actually talked to my sister about. Like, stop browbeating him. This guy, he loves you and he's taking care of you. This is long before the baby was born. And he looks me right in the eyes and he says, no, the story's true. And I says, okay, so the story that I was told is that you told my parents and Liz that NFL is more important than being there the second day that your daughter was alive. And he said, yes, I said that. And I said, are you sure that that's what you said? I gave him all the chances he could. Understand the parallels of this story and the parallels of the last day my family was together. Understand that this story is most likely completely a creation used to trigger me. And let me tell you something. That little girl is my niece. My niece. He might be her father, but she's also my niece. And she was going to get protected. So we went on for about an hour, hour and a half of me letting him know that I'm about ready to kick the shit out of him and why it is and how it is that he could say such a thing. And finally, it came to me what it is I need to say to him to get him to understand how wrong it is. How wrong it is that he was not there. Now understand, this is most likely a made-up story. So he's arguing with me back and forth, avoiding getting knocked out by me, which is good that I didn't go that far, but I still was thinking this is a real story. And I say to him to his face, I says, I want you to imagine we're all together. We're at Mia's 12th to 13th birthday party, and somebody brings up the story of the first days that she was born. She knows that she's a preemie, so she knows that there's a lot of stories for those first few weeks she was alive, right? And I looked at him and I says, what if it came out during speaking about those weeks, those early weeks? It wasn't touch and go completely, but you know, it's there's a lot of concern there. I was definitely concerned in California. She's my niece. She's my sister's daughter. It's important. And I said, what if at this store, I'm drunk, let's say. I was sober at the time. No, I was drinking at that time, actually. That was, I was already with Carmen, so I started socially drinking, just socially. I said, what if I'm sitting there and I'm drunk and, or somebody, anyone, accidentally happens to say, what about that funny story about you being dropped off at the Buffalo Wild Wings on our second day of being born? And that's what triggered him. His face, he's quite a pale, tall Arkansas boy. You can see the steam coming out of his ears. His face turned so red. And I was like, now, do you understand where I'm coming from? What makes you think it's okay that you weren't there for her? Here's the problem. This was a story, this is a creation. These are 3 stories I'm telling you from 2007 until about 2012 these stories were told to me. Among others that I can't recall right now, not enough details to bring up. What is it exactly that these people are up to? When did law enforcement get in the middle of this? I know the criminals were involved in this, whether it's my ex-friends, and they're not my ex-friends. They have ghosted me as well as acted against me, but they're still my friends. I do not know what they were told exactly or how it was they were influenced, but they were told stories like these kind of stories that I've been told. Well, and so understand, these people, my father and my mother, are sociopaths that are very good at influencing others to think what they want to think. Remember, my father is trained at this through the military. He was using military tactics on his family. Maybe it's the way that he trapped my mother into marrying him. I don't know. My mother is, she's not some sort of weak victim either. Sherry money comes from a strong line of Japanese women. I'm just so disappointed that they have decided to take lies and innuendo as some sort of and gossip and bullshit stories to create their own narratives and to be part of this. It's very, very strange. But more importantly, it shows that they've been up to this since at least 2007, and law enforcement and whoever else is relying on their information on these attacks against me, on an arson that could have been a homicide, which is a very big felony, and a conspiracy that's been followed before and after the fire that are all connected. All connected. So understand, this storytelling has been happening for quite a while I'm sitting around trying to live my life and do good. What is happening? What are I know what the intentions of the stories are, but how is it that they think that they're going to get away with all of this when it's exposed and shown that what they said to many people that are very in powerful positions, believe them when it doesn't make any sense what it is when I get in the middle of it all and I start to reveal exactly what's been going on here. Exactly what's been going on here. I just want to say at the end of this that I love Mia. I'm so sorry. I hope that I'm just so sorry. I feel so terrible. My sister didn't understand what my parents was doing to her, and my parents have held my sister under their thumb by supporting Mia, I think financially, in many ways, and I do believe that is. I hope that Mia, in my heart of hearts, I know that Mia is going to want to connect with me at one point and want to understand why she has a strength that none of them had, because I have a strength that none of them have, and I know that Mia has it. Also, part of this story is that supposedly Dexter was having an affair the whole time, and that who it was he was going to the Buffalo Wild Wings to see, as well as the NFL, was supposedly this other the person he was having an affair with, supposedly. I do not know if any of that part is true either, but that was later part of the story that was added on after I found out, after I confronted him. So that's it for now. Thank you for listening. This is laying the groundwork for these sociopaths that have convinced so many people, especially people in powers of authority, by lying to them about absolute ridiculousness and how they kept trying to trigger me and bring them into their mix. It did work to some degree. I did have that relapse, but that relapse was, once again, that relapse was a medical issue related with Paxil. It was a chemical brain issue because of the Paxil, getting off of the Paxil. And that's what it was all about when my mom laughed and hung up on me. But you can listen to the last story about that. Thank you for your time. I hope you're having a nice day. Bye-bye.